Fantastic. All right. So hello again. I'm Nick from Gorilla, and today I'm showing you another of our new tools, which is the Shop Builder. I think you've already seen some sneak peeks of it in the previous talks. So there are three big ideas here. I'll make that a bit smaller. So firstly, unlike our previous tools, this is from the outset a facsimile of a real world thing. This is an online shop. As we've been hearing, huge amounts do an online shopping in some form, and so the idea for us is to have an ecologically valid setting as our starting point. So following on from this, the configuration options that we're putting into this are all based on real world shops and real world ideas. So labels, swaps, and tags and so on that you've just been hearing about. And so what we're trying to maintain is that any combination of these options that you find should, in theory, be able to be rolled out into real life. So we're very much trying to keep everything very grounded in reality. And because this is Gorilla, we want to give you full control over the shopping experience so you can start experimenting with all these different types of nudges. So what is the Shop Builder for? Well, we've been hearing loads of great ideas for it. So obviously we've heard about some ideas in behavioral economics. You can explore things like anchoring effects. Why does $1,000 sound expensive, but $5,000 reduced to $1,000 sound cheap? You can use it in social psychology. Do more people accept swaps if we tell them that everybody else is? You can use it to test behavioral interventions. So this is very pertinent to the previous talk. Do people buy healthier food overall if we put a green sticker on the healthy stuff or a red sticker on the unhealthy stuff? You can use it in experimental psychology. You can create memory tasks, but based in a real world situation. Can people remember to buy all of the items on their shopping list? Can you prime people to choose one product over another? And finally, you can use it to do actual market research. So what discounts can you put in that affect purchasing, or which adverts affect what people buy? And yes, I'd say it was really cool to see Pasquale's work being presented just now. Pasquale's been on our early access problem for Shop Builder, and Lola that you saw is being built in this tool. And of course, this is another tool like the task builder or the questionnaire builder, so you'll be able to put a shop builder task into your experiment tree and have other tasks that go before and after it. So you could even have an intervention task or a questionnaire beforehand and then see how that affects what they go on to purchase. So this is, as I say, so this is a fully featured online store. You've already seen the research from Pasquale and Dimitris as well, and and those projects have been based on previous work that we've done and tools we've been working on in the background, and we're super excited to finally make them available to everyone. So as you've seen, you start with a fully featured online store. You have products, you can put them into categories, you can search, you have a basket, you can remove things from it, and then you check out at the end. You upload your own products, so it's just a simple spreadsheet. You have one item in each row and an image for every product. And so this lets you turn it into any kind of shop you want. So obviously we've seen supermarkets earlier, but you can use it to make a toy shop or a clothes shop or anything like that. And then finally, you can manipulate all these different aspects of the shopping experience. So the labels, the pricing, the taxes, the discounts, and so on. For anyone who's looking at this thinking, this looks great, I want to have a go at this, how do you get started? So I've got another step-by-step guide of how to get cracking with the shop builder. So the first question you need to ask yourself, fairly obviously, is what kind of shop am I going to make? And in my mind, this comes down to a fairly sort of straightforward choice. And do you need a domain-specific shop because of the kind of research that you're doing? So if you're doing health research, so I want to use groceries, so I'm interested in health stuff, or I want to use toys because I'm researching this particular thing, or are you researching some other kind of behavior where you just want some kind of everyday environment to use as a kind of setting for your task instead of using some kind of more abstract traditional psychology task? But either which way, you're going to make some kind of shop. And the next thing is you need to get your product set together. So here's an example of one. This is for my toy shop that I created. So this is the spreadsheet. This is the whole spreadsheet. It's quite a small, simple one. And there's only 6 columns that you need. They have some kind of category. We have the name of the product, an image of it, and its price. And then we have these 2 others, pack size and pack unit, which determines sort of how big it is, which we use for matching products up later. If you're not using that, you can just put 1 each for all of them. You then need your images for each product, and then that's it. That's the whole set. You could also have bigger ones. Some of the supermarket stuff you've seen earlier has had upwards of 10,000 products in them, but there's no need for them necessarily to be that huge if you don't need them to be. Then you load them into the shop builder. So I'm going to show you what this looks like now. So away we go. So let's go ahead and create a brand new shop builder task. This is live now in Gorilla. So if you log into Gorilla and go to the create menu, you will see the shop builder in that menu, and you can have a go with it today. I'm going to go ahead and create a toy shop. the first thing we need to do is go ahead and upload our products. Let's start editing. And I'm going to just show you bring back the spreadsheet that I showed you a moment ago. So there are all my columns. I've got one category just called category. Now you can have multiple categories if you want, and you can nest them. So you could, if you're doing a supermarket like Pascal's been doing, you could have department, aisle, shelf, for example. But I've just got one category. So the first thing I need to do is go back into the tool, go to this category section and say what might tell the tool what my categories are. I've just got one called category. This is where you would configure those. And then once that is there, I can then go back to the products tab. I can hit upload and I can just drag that file into here. Which one's it in? It's in one of these. There we go. So that's there. There they all are. And now the next thing is to upload all the images I showed you. So we go to the second tab down, which is product images. And if I bring the folder back across again, you can see they're all in there. Where's that? That's over here. So when you have your growth chart, you expect to have a spreadsheet and a big folder of images, basically. But you could just grab all of those and toss us into the upload, and there we go. There they go. Very nice. Okay, so that's all of our products in. Obviously, if you've got a bigger set, it might take a bit longer than that. And then we can go ahead and customize how our shop is going to look. So you can specify a logo that's going to appear at the top. I've got one here. You'll see in a moment it's white because I want it to sit against a colored background where you can't really see it, but you'll see what it looks like when we go ahead and preview it. And then you can customize the appearance of your shop. You can change the colors that we use and all the rest of it. So I'm going to go for a sort of rather fetching green. And you can see what a preview of the color on the right hand side. For experience, I'll just use the same color throughout. And then this is where I'm going to set my logo as well. And there's other things you customize here. You can choose the currency and some other sort of settings about how the shop appears. So that's it. That's all, the whole thing ready to go. Let's go ahead and preview and see what that looks like. So here we are. Welcome to Hovershed Toys and Games. This is my toy shop. You can see there are the categories that we had in our spreadsheet along the top. And if I click into each one, we can then again see all the toys that are there in my toy shop. There's the Lego, here's some Playmobil, the board games I put in there, and a bunch of teddies. And then from there, it behaves just like an online shop. So you can add things to your basket, you can change the quantities, you see it all dynamically update in the little basket panel on the right. And go ahead and add some more things. I can actually change the quantities in my basket directly there, and everything all updates dynamically. When I finished, I go and I check out and I say, yes, I'm finished. And then that's the end of my shopping task. So there we go. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing working. So one of the things that's really exciting about Shop Builder for me is that it's so quick to get up and running. Unlike some of our other tools where necessarily you have to lay out several screens or configure some questions, it's all there right out of the box and you can start tinkering it immediately. So now we can go ahead and start configuring it for our experiment. I'm going to go ahead and show you the labels manipulation here. So what I've got here is I've uploaded a new version of my product set with some extra columns. You can see I've got flag, animals, and fun factor here. I haven't done anything special. These are just extra columns that I've just added in Excel in my spreadsheet. So I put those in there, and in this fun factor column, I've sort of rather arbitrarily given a score for each toy as to how fun I think it is. So that's in there. I'm sure some of you will disagree with my ratings. Apologies for that. So I went back to the products panel, re-uploaded my set, and they all appear there. And now all those different custom properties that I've added are going to appear in my tooling. I've got two labels here, which I'm going to use in my labels condition. I'll upload those in a second. Here we go. And I've got two images, and these are labels that I'm going to want to put onto my products. And it's a big banner called Super Fun, and then a little smaller one. And I'll show you where those go in just a second. So now we can go ahead and customize our label. So I'm going to add a condition for my label condition called Super Fun. And I'll explain more about condition in a moment. Let's go ahead and add a label. So we set the two images that we're going to use, the large one there and the small one there. And what I want to do is I want to show the Super Fun label on all of the products in my set that I think have a high rating in my super fun column. So you can see those custom fields that I've added dynamically appear in my drop down here, and I can build this criteria up to pick the products I want to enter. So what's really nice about Shop Builder, and we use this criteria idea a lot, is that you can essentially algorithmically drive a lot of the conditions in your shop. So let's we now see that our super fun condition has come up here. You can have multiple conditions, and then, so I could have 2 different types of label that I add and then randomize patterns between them and see how those affect. So let's go into the Lego. Here we go. So you can see those 3 toys have got my super fun badge on them now. And if I just bring the set over very quickly, we can see, well, yes, those first 3, there's a 5 and 2 4s, but the train's only got a 3. So that's why the label isn't appearing on them. So that's all working nicely. If I click through the rest of my shop, I think I can see the other ones. The fox, there we go. It's looking pretty good. And the others. Now, when I add them to my basket, they appear obviously in the panel on the right. And when I add one that has the label on it, we see that's where the small one appears. So even once you've moved on and started shopping for another product, you can see that those labels are still there. So, whoa, sorry, that was what I was meant to do. What happened there? All right. Apologies for that. Right, that was the end of that video. So I was trying to scroll in my notes. So that is how you configure the labels. And that's just one of the many conditions in the shop builder, and we've added loads of others, and I'm going to take you through some of them now. So the first one, which I think you saw in one of the other talks, is swaps. So you can configure your shop to offer swaps based on what people choose. Again, like all the other things, you configure it very simply. You just fill in all these little blanks and decide what you want it to say. And then when they go shopping, it'll look like this. So in this case, I've used the same thing. And as you saw, the you chose, the how about, great for younger children, better for older children, all of these are all labels that I've customized. And whenever I add something that matches my criteria that I configured for a swap, it will then choose another product that matches my swap criteria and offer that to the participant. They have a button at the bottom, which you can optionally enable, called Show Me Another, which allows them to cycle through all the potential matches to find something that they might like. So now the key thing here is that a lot of the power in the shop builder is you can combine all these different manipulations together. If I'd configured my the labels option I showed you at the beginning, and the rabbit or the horse box would have had that label applied, you will also see that in this swap modal. So a lot of the time what you'll find we're doing is combining several of these different effects together to create the shopping experience that you want. So that swaps taxes. So you can put taxes onto your products to see how that affects purchasing behavior. You can make them just invisible, so you can just adjust the pricing, or you can make them explicit and actually change how the pricing is displayed to show the person how much tax they're paying for certain things. You can also optionally show how much total tax they're paying in their basket on the right. And then discounts. Now, this is what Pasquale used to implement the snap stuff that he was showing you in his talk. I've done a very different thing here of doing a summer sale, but it's all the same idea. Again, you can choose how these things are presented to the participant, and you have a lot of control over this. In this case, I want to have the base price ruled out with the sale price next to it. And again, you can show the total in the basket there. The one thing that discounts have is that you can set a maximum amount of discount that any one participant is entitled to, which is how a lot of real world discount programs work. Then there's the basket rating. So this is another thing that I think, as we were having the previous talks, that one of these few things that you can only really do in an online setting is give every shopper a rating of how good or bad or whatever you think their basket is. So this is based on the total number of products in the basket and the various different properties that they have. You can give the whole basket some kind of rating. I've just gone for a sort of fairly vanilla low, medium, high, but this can be anything that you want. You don't have to use just colors and text. You can put images here instead. And as the participant adds and removes stuff from their basket, their rating will dynamically update to show them the new result. Again, this is particularly powerful in coupled with the labels I showed you earlier, because if you keep the small label that appears in the basket, they can actually see which their products are contributing to that rating, and I'll show you that in the next one. So basket distribution is similar, and I've got that idea showing here, except this time we're actually showing the participant the breakdown of how each of their product contribute to each of these 3 ratings. So whereas before it was essentially just an average across the whole basket, this time we're actually showing you the breakdown of your basket and how the different products are contributing. And then you can see here I've come up with some different labels, which are just simple circles of different colors that match my ratings. This basically allows the participant to see at a glance which of these products are contributing to which bits of their basket rating. So using these different combinations of labeling and ratings, you can give people a really, really good insight when they look at their basket of just how either healthy or unhealthy, or how many air miles or whatever it is that they're carrying around in there. The other thing that's nice about the basket distribution is that you can normalize this in different ways. So this first screenshot is showing you just by number of products, and we can see it's the Hogwarts Castle that's contributing to our high rating in this particular example. But the Hogwarts Castle costs more than all the other products in there put together. So in the second example, this is exactly the same basket, exactly the same setup, but I'm normalizing the ratings by price. Or rather, I'm weighting the ratings by price. So we can see here, this image on the right is showing you out of all the money you're spending, how many of these things fall into these different categories and how they affect your rating. And you can see that gives a very, very different impression of what they're carrying around with them. And then, so those are the big highlights, and then there are loads more other configuration options available to you. You could give participants a shopping list to remind them what to buy. You can set the initial items that they start off with, that Pascal showed us that earlier. You can set a minimum maximum budget. So if you want to constrain them to only spending a certain amount of money, you can do that. You can customize how the site is navigated to better mimic certain real world websites. You can add your own custom content. So you can add extra graphics and other things to the product pages and to the category pages that are there on the site. And finally, it's fully localizable. So all the little labels and on all the different buttons, so checkout or show me another, and all those different things that you've seen, you can upload a spreadsheet and translate all of those different pieces of text into a different language. So you can actually go out there and do your search with a fully localized shop. And this localization idea is something we're going to be rolling out to all of our other tools in due course, but it's there now in the shop builder. So that's the end of my shop builder demo. It is available now. So when you go into your Gorilla account and hit the create button, it will be there under new tools. It's the way we're trying out with our new tools. They are free to try out. You can start building it. You can grab that toy shop set that I showed you. It was on the main documentation page of the shop builder, and you will need a license in order to actually go and do data collection and to file support tickets against it. So it's free to try out, and then once you've got your task and you're really happy that you want to go ahead and use it, that's when you need to go and get a license. They are available for labs and departments as of today, and we are really excited to see what you guys can build with it. That is everything from me. There is more information on the shop builder product page here, and that's the end of my presentation. So if there are any questions, I'd be delighted to take them.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nick. Amazing stuff. We've got one question already in the chat. Basically, is there any limit to the number of products you can upload to the store?
Yeah. There's no hard limit as of yet, no. One thing we have been finding, shall I stop my share? Because then I think we can see each other a bit better. So no, there's not a hard upper limit. What we have found is that the main thing that's really gating you there is that the bigger your product set is, the longer it's going to take your participant to download it at the beginning in order to start the task. So sooner or later, if you make it too big, you're going to get to a point where your task just takes too long to start, because the first thing we have to do is load up your massive spreadsheet of all of your products, and then process it so that we can use it at runtime. Once it's all sort of set up, everything is fine. Again, other kind of things that tend to get harder the more products you have. If you have a really, really massive set, the search is going to be slower and other things like that. But certainly we've been trialing it with Pasquale and others in the 10 to 20,000 product range, and it's been performing pretty well. So we think that so far it's the tool's ability to have a large number of products is certainly higher than what any sane person would want to have to manage. So
no, absolutely. And I think this might be a question. I'm not sure if Dimitris, if you're still in the room or not. One thing I didn't get the opportunity to ask our previous speakers was, where do they get their stimuli from?
Yeah, so one of the things that we've got, if you want just to get started, that toy shop set is available online right now. In terms of getting real world sets, most of our previous clients have ended up going and buying them from groups. So there's Kantar World Panel, I think, have provided some of the earlier product sets. Then I think there are a few others. I'm sure some of my team will be able to find them and put them in the chat. But there are companies that do this, and Products for You, I think, was another one. But they are available for purchase. There are people around the world who want and need and use this kind of stuff. But we've looked into whether we can somehow acquire some. But from what we found is that because these things, particularly in terms of groceries and things, they vary so much by territory, culturally, because they go out of date, because products come in and out of circulation, everything. It really is something that you want to have there for your study that is particular to your study.
No, absolutely. I think that sounds really great. I think another question that kind of came up, I think I saw somewhere in the chat, is this idea, the shop design that we have here. It's very well suited for a grocery shop. It's very well suited for something like Amazon. But, what about kind of other types of online shopping? You think about price comparison shops, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one thing that we want to do with the shop builder in due course, which is this concept of skin. So yeah, like what we've gone for at the moment is something that works well, as you say, for a supermarket, general product, Amazon-y sort of thing. But there are plenty of other kind of skins or templates that we want to explore using, and our vision for it is that we work in exactly the same way. You still upload a spreadsheet of various products, and then essentially you just pick which kind of skin you want, and then go ahead and customize the colors and the branding and stuff like I showed you earlier. And again, this would be all we're essentially changing there is the layout and the kind of skeleton of the site and how you browse it. And as I say, so price comparison, one of the ones that came up in our notes. I've talked about doing a clothes shop. So if you're doing a clothes shop, you probably want some concept of choosing a size, which you wouldn't have in some of these other ones. So that's definitely another one we want to do. I think price comparison sites and insurance and flights and other things like that, all the same basic idea, but there are always just a couple of slight things that you would want to change depending on the kind of context that it is. So but I think where we would approach that is essentially opinionated skins. So it's like if you're doing a price comparison site, use this skin, which is the one that we made exactly for that.
No, I think that sounds amazing. And it's always good to hear that there are more things in the pipeline ready to come out, although it was pretty feature full, to be honest. I think it's a lot of things. We do have in the chat a feedback form. So tell us what you think about Shop Builder. If there was something, I can't imagine what you could think of, but if you did think of something that was missing, then there is an opportunity to put that in our feedback form. So we'd love to hear from you guys and how to make our products better.
Yeah, Gareth, if you're still there, I know you've spoken to me before about where you can buy data sets from. Could you say something?
Yes, so most of the images that you find on websites, whether it's Amazon, Tesco's, they all come from one source, which is BrandBank. So I'm just about to post the link in the chat. So whenever a new company launches a product, BrandBank has some set of guidelines that the images need to follow. And these are the ones that are supplied to pretty much any company online where you buy it from. So that's why if you go to Tesco's, as the photos you see are identical. So that's typically where I buy my images from.
That's absolutely brilliant. And thank you so much.
Not just the image, but the product description is there as well. So if you want the product description, it gives you a bit more.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Gareth.